Hello everyone, welcome back to the Java plus Python tutorials. We've been going through a lot of concepts and today we're gonna do a little bit more on OOPS to get some clarity. So there should not be a confusion, at least with a basic perspective of what we were doing. So let's look at both Java and Python theme, and what is important for us is the structure of those concepts. I believe in our Java programs, we've written them a little clearly so we can kind of take a look at it. So OOPS concept primarily being a concept where I'm saying that I can create a class, and based on that class structure, I can start calling things. So here we said that I have a class called phone within the same package. And we said how we can create a structure for it. What are the arguments or properties at a class level? What are the different methods that we can perform on them? And how that's in a very simple way organized. From that class being a template, what we kept doing was take objects from such a way that I can say, okay, one object does certain thing, the second object does the other thing, and so on. And we went through the whole concepts of inheritance, of how we can inherit one class from the other class, where I'm saying that there is now a smartphone. Smartphone nothing but extends the phone, and apart from the regular feature that the phone does, you can also surf, you can fix on it, you can make a smarter call. So when I create objects from smartphone, they automatically can start having those new methods assigned to it. So as simple as you have a car as a automobile class, and then came your electric cars. Then came your, then came your hybrid cars, and now electric and self-driven cars. So they took that hierarchy of it. And we went through a few things, team. What does a final mean for us? What a static method means for us, and how we can look at static variable. So these concepts are important, teams, as what is static and what is non-static. So please watch those previous tutorials on what we spoke about here in Java especially. And the basic concept, so it's easy for you all to understand at any time. We have a class. So to a class, we basically are assigning different objects, and each object will have its own properties and the methods. So if I take an object 1, then I can use those properties or methods. If I take object 2 out of the class, then I can do the same. In case of a static method or a static variable, I do not have to reference a method. I can directly call it from the class. So it is common and belongs to the class and not to objects that I've been getting from. And we were also speaking about, so in here we spoke about something like WhatsApp groups, group names, group profile pictures that become static. Admin changes it, it changes for everyone. Method overloading. So there are two concepts to it, team. Method overloading and method overriding also. I think I spoke about method overriding here. Yes, I did. Good. So method overloading is a concept where, please observe this. It's just the name of the class that I created. In this, I have various methods: add, and then main. So in the same class, I have my main method and individual methods under this class called add. Now, just to show the simple difference is each time the count of variables or the type of variables are changing. Did you notice? The name of the method is the same, and hence we are able to call those and go around with them. Saying add, and I can use the same method for different types of numbers or more than one variable. Then came polymorphism. Polymorphism is when we take different shapes of it. So I've created a class somewhere called cricket. Where is it? The top. Okay. Where did I create cricket? Not even having any package. And then baseball. I think they're in sports. Maybe. So both of them are under the sport .java class team. And in this, we're saying cricket extends sport and baseball extends sport. So I can say how the same method in regular ball game, a cricket game, and a baseball are changing teams for us. So we're saying that the same method for different subtypes of the class are changing. So just to give you the perspective, I have my parent class. One child class has incorporated whatever the parent can do, and it has also overridden. This is called overriding, okay? Or overwriting also that throw ball. When I say in cricket throw ball, it will call this. When I say in baseball throw a ball, it will call this. So my polymorphism method overriding is out here team. Same method from the parent class has been overridden by the child class. Makes sense, everyone? So those are very important key concepts, and only when you keep implementing and practicing on them constantly, we kind of get to a good position. So let's look at Python also, team, where we are. Kind of little extend on it, make sure we are in good shape there and go from there. So it looks like somewhere out here we started with classes. So in the same program, I created a class and it has two variables X and Y. Then I just have print, by doing all this, why don't we write our own class? But that's okay. Let's read few of them to at least we know what we've covered, and we'll write our classes. So what we're doing here is hello, start of the program, maybe hello end here. And now see, O1 is nothing but an object of my class. Now, can you all make sure that you're understanding these details, team, very clearly? When I ask you, can you tell me what they are? And this will be important from your practice too. The O1 is of object of type my class 1. Now, what is O1.x? It is referring to the X belonging to that my class 1. And at any point, if I change it, one second. If I change that program, it will give me the new one. So now I'll say O1.x equals 10 is there, right? I'll say 111. Now I'll print O1, it's not 0, O1.x. So let's keep that very simple, team. My class 1, that's the name of the class. From there came one object called O1 and also another object called O2. Now, in this, there are only two attributes to it. There is an attribute X and an attribute Y. Nothing else it will do, this class. It can only store data. So think of it like a phone contact list. Okay, you cannot say something else. I'll write a simple one. Is it okay if I'm slowing down and going a little bit more detailed, team? Team, is that okay? Okay. So here, let's say there is a class, my contacts. Now in my contacts, all that I want is a phone equals, I don't know what is there. So right now I'll just put a hyphen and a number, oh sorry, name equals nothing. Now what we're trying to do is exactly same as this. And for me, the main thing are the variables and what I'm storing in that. So py24, my contacts. Now here, even if you want to give hyphen, anything that is not a number, you have to put it into quotes. So what is the issue here? What's the issue here? Right. Class lower ct. That's my class, my contacts, and then starts my program. Whenever, because I've been seeing a lot of you have been struggling team on these basics, I want you to slow down and look at them. Now, if I create one, contact one, I'll say, equals my contacts. Now, what has happened is we've created the basic contacts for us. So, did I talk about initializations in here? And I can say c1.phone equals 818.530.3906. And then c1.name equals, say, now this is one contact that I've added here. Now, the same thing, I can add more contacts. C2, C2, C2. And each time I may be changing numbers, changing names, and so on. Now, class is a structure. It won't let you what was it? Change the format. So what do I mean? I can't say c1.email equals something blah 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 at blah, blah, and then print c1. So c1.email is actually now taking it to me. This does not, now the same thing is a thing that you cannot do in Java. You cannot create such errors in Java because you're adding a class variable using a contact, and you should not be able to do that. Let's at least run this. And it's printing whatever we did. So the format itself that we gave has only phone and a name, and that is all I want to be able to resist. Now comes a lot to do with access modifiers. So to do that, let's go to more examples in this. 35 different access modifiers. But how do I explain the concepts? Under this, there'll be a lot of programs, concepts team, so you have to look into that once. Try to change the name. Rename py hyphen py25. Let's see. So basic classes, we were speaking about how I take a class and do. Now I can also add methods to it. Methods to it in the sense, what is it that it can do? If I can say call contact. Okay, so if I just pass self, is the first command that goes in, then I'll say name. All right. So once I get self.name, so I'll say self.phone. I don't even need to pass which one because I already know. And I'll say message out here. And so again, calling this self.phone. And that's about it. Okay. And let's say text is the next one we want to do. Just repeating what we were doing earlier. So this call, let us say, does not need any information, just self. And here it requires message. I'll say print texting. One problem is there. Form message self dot message comma MST. Now what has happened, team? Apart from the attributes, we've also added methods to it. So when I say C1 dot, I can also say call. It doesn't require any input. C1 dot text, and here I have to send some message. Need that. So let's run this. Which one am I running? Okay, that's that one. C1 dot call. So missing one. Self payments. Okay, what does it say? C1 dot call. Calling. What is missing here? Instead of self, I can say whatever I want, team, but that it should be the first argument that goes into Python methods. Let's see this. Type it, call, missing one required positional argument self. Let's just comment this, see if the next one is working. Does it want me to call it with self? No. Something is wrong here, team. I don't need an initialization one. See even my contacts. From this again. Now see, that seems to be the only reason. I didn't know what else would be. It is, I did not give the open end brackets to the end of my class name while I'm creating it, and it somehow could not perform on these actions. So I can call whoever I want. So based on the contacts, I just say this contact call, this contact do something. And this way, I'm able to use the same properties, same methods across for everyone. Now in this case, line 23, C2.call, same method, and should be fine. Okay. So this should be a basic structure code where I have a class, some attributes, couple of functions, and you can call them. Always do not forget your initialization method. Initialization. So your initialization method, team, predominantly starts with nothing but underscore underscore init, and you will see why we're using underscore underscore, and then self. is the first automatic variable. You can change it to any name theme, but just keep it as self. And in this case, I can say my contacts. By default, I'll say friend. No. How do I do it? What I'll send, right? And P1, comma, N1. So instead of me setting it this way, if I have this method, I can just say on this object self dot, and here is where comes something specifically that we will get into the private part. P1 equals underscore phone equals P1 and then self dot double underscore name equals N1. So the way it works for us is it makes things easy when making things. So I can just combine all of this into one line. I'll say C3, my contracts. I'm sending first parameter is phone, that's just the number. So I can send 123 is my phone and then the number. Now I don't have to set them individually. This is your initialization method. You get called when you're creating the object itself. I'm sure we would have spoken about it, not sure. So I thought let's definitely speak about this. So when I'm running this program, it helps me to initialize. P1 and N1 start. Okay, missing two required position against P1 and N1. This is P1, N1. Phone is there, name is there. There's nothing wrong with this as I see. Initialization self phone is name is P1 name equals to N1. Dot underscore underscore name is there, just like enter. Which is the name of those? C1 my contacts. Line 19. Oh, it's saying here required positional arguments. I have the defaults here. This didn't happen for the new object team, it happened for the old object. And that is why. So I'm creating two different ones. One is working for this, one was not working. C2 I changed, or C3 I did not change. Change. C3 I changed. Yeah. This is better. Now it's on to line 20. Okay, so that's good. Continue. So here, now C2 my contacts. I want, so if I'm giving my contacts, and that is where we are having a challenge where we cannot do a method overloading in there where I cannot say that, okay, I'll pass different attributes into it. So each time I'm defining and sending something into it is blank, then so be it. But I definitely have to send content in. So that is my first. And here I'm sending it automatically. And here, whatever the way we do, we can put the same data. So now individually, we do not have to set anything. All. Let me explain this to you. So there is no concept. What is method overloading? So same method, you're passing different variables. But within Java, Python, so there is no built-in concept of method overloading. I have to do something as a programmatically in there. That is the reason I could not create two initialization functions for it, saying, okay, if it's only one variable, then what do we do? Two variables, then what do we do? The initialization method, once it's created, you can pass what you want into it according to what you have. In this as a concept, what you could talk about, but is method overriding. So we will come to that. So what is it that we saw? We were looking at very simple one that anyone can maintain as a class contact phone, what you can do with it. Now let's look at something that you want to maintain as a public or a private thing. So there are three concepts in it. Public, accessible by all. This is the default. And protected, not accessible from outside. We also look at static text. In this we're talking about specifically a lot in Python. Okay. Not protected is something is midway secure. So let me explain the concept and why we need to do something interesting. The simplest things are anything to do with financials or employee details and so on. So now let's take one more new program. And it's going to be UI26 hyphen. We're talking more about what is, so what we saw so far was all public team. There is no need to mention a word public for it. But when we're getting into private, you will see that there's a difference. So let's create the same one if I can, private. So let's say we have a class for employees. And the most important thing when I'm creating an employee is to have an initialization method that says that, okay, there is a name and there is a ID and maybe a salary. Okay. And let's take out ID for now, just have to do this name and salary. So all I say is the self dot what we used to say earlier. Here, if I say self dot name, whereas access morphism, they already use a double underscore here. Yeah, this is what I didn't use. That's fine. So I'll speak about this. So let us say there are two variables team, and these two have to become private. So when I give, in fact, this is where I did a mistake automatically. I thought I explained private. So let me not do this. And we will look at it here. So when I say self dot double underscore and the variable that we have team, say let's say name, and or let's say employee name equals whatever we send in name, and self dot, since there's no declaration, I can just declare it on the fly. E sal equals to sal, whatever we send. Now these two are private attributes. So what happens basically is when I create my method for it, you basically can say E equals to MP1 equals to employee, and the sending in a salary is 10,000. Okay, and rent P1 dot P. You see this team? You no longer see a name or e name out here. Now, this case, the other way is to do like this: e name equals to, this is what I shown there, equals to nothing, and e sal equals to nothing. And if I told self dot e name, it is already there, and self dot e sal, it is already there. Let me explain this. Not so when I'm initializing, I can send it and I can say print what is E1 dot name, and I can also print E1 dot esal. Do you see they're all good, nicely visible? And this A and 10,000. Now similarly, I can create one more employee. Not a problem. This is all by default public. I have E2 and B, let us say 12,000. Let's say E2 dot name, E2 dot salary. So this becomes my regular public dot type. So I'm going to refactor this and make it as public. And now let's take the same code and talk about this. In this case, so far they were all public attributes here. When it means public attribute, anyone could get access to it. Anyone could change it. That is the challenge. Now, when it gets to a private, all that I do is put a double underscore here. Right? Let's delete these. Let's delete. You can keep them. Let's see if it says. Yeah. Let's change this. Let's do this. So that becomes a private attribute. When it becomes a private attribute, you need to use some property methods. Get or set. values are private. So what do I mean? So now I say even dot esal, you can see. Do you see this team? But you do not see e name anymore because this is still a private variable. In it, you can have private and public. Let's make this was public so far. Let's make this also private. All I do to make it private is put a double underscore in front of it, just like the now. No longer will I be able to say print even dot. There's no e name out here, or there is no esal. Not sure. So there you go. Do you see this thing? So in a public class, there's no problem with how you access it. But in a private method attributes, you cannot do that. So to do this, what you have to do is put some methods into it. So I'll put a method called def get name. Now here what I will do, in get name, I'll just say self, and I'll say return self dot. So you see double underscore e name, that is what I will use. Now I cannot do print even dot name. So this throw errors, okay, throws error. But if I say print even dot get name, now it should be able to do that for us. And it will say the name is A. In the same method I can use for B also. Understood, everyone? So these values are now hidden inside it. You can decide who and how to show the data. Now, the same thing, let's talk about the salary also. So if I want to get sal, I'll say get sal. But here I will say that I am admin equals to true. Now, if I am admin equals to true, let's look at my logic. Then I will return self underscore esal. Else I will say print you are not admin, cannot access other cells. Because in a program you're able to go in, right? So there's a logic that I'm putting for it. So I'm saying if it is true, then that is fine if it is. So this is hard coded for now. So when I say get sal and assuming that I'm an admin, even sorry, this is E2. You can accordingly put methods to change also. So true rerun. It says it's returning the salary. Now, in this case, let us say for some reason you are not the admin, and the logic shows here you're not the admin. And then when you try, you're not admin, cannot access other salaries. Now, the same way you have getter method. I'm sorry, and you have a put method. Get and set methods can be used to access data. So now just like get name, I'll have get or get salary. I'll say set sal. Okay. And in this case it is true. Then return. Then what I will do, so new sal also will send correct. Everyone should be able to follow what I'm doing, team. That's very simple as an example. It's to new sal plus new sal. Any questions so far? Just simple public variables within classes and private variables or attributes, and how we need to use get methods and set methods to do something. So now I'll return the new salary. So if I say from 12,000, print E2 dot, now set sal, and in this the inputs are first self and second is new salary. Let us say we put it to 23,000. So it should be also printing out new salary for us. Oh, it's added, right? New sal. So this is adding to it. But if you want to just set it to it, then that's good. Now it's set. So that's the most important difference between a public and private. You cannot just go in and get the content from it as and when you like. So these methods are called the property methods, like the get method or the set method. And you have to write them for each of those attributes to be able to correctly make sure security is correct on your application. Now, there are things like, we spoke about inheritance, I believe, right? And did we do, what did we do here? Let's see. We did. So inheritance is a key attribute. This you need to keep a good eye on it as well. So what were we speaking about? There's a class quadrilateral, there's an initialization method. Now are these public or private variables, team? Attributes? Are these public or private attributes, everyone? Public. And the reason being, there's no double underscores after the self. So this way I'm able to get also a method called the perimeter and run the code. Now I can also create different other methods out of it. So I said this here, class rectangle is inherited from class quad child now, and initialization method is the same. So I don't think it needs to be different. Now tell me this, team, everyone, I'll show you that only that specific one. You have to tell me very smartly about this. So you see class quad, right? That's the parent class or superclass. And this is the rectangle is extending the quad with the child class, right? Now, should we use this init and this init both? Are they different, or can we use the same one for both? And then the second question would also be for square. Should we use different initialization methods for each or the same? So your quad is your parent, you have a rectangle, and your square. Quad has 4 sides, 4 straight lines that intersect on 4 different points. Rectangle is basically has 2 parallel lines, 2 sets of parallel lines. So here you need to give 4 parameters. Here you only need to give 2 parameters, the height and the width. And square is luckily all the same size. So you just need to give one side of it, any size, and it will do the calculation. So hence you definitely need to give different initialization methods. So the first one takes all the 4 values and sets them individually. Second one takes 2 values only for a rectangle. The third one takes the same value, one value, but puts it up into all sides for a square. And also how the methods that are there are now specifically being done more for our child. So I want to talk briefly about a static method team, and I think we've used static methods here. I'm sure we would have. But let's see. So inheritance was done, so that's good. Where did we speak? 1 second, team. So did we do something similar for method overloading in Python team? No, because we cannot have method overloading them. This is misspelled here. Let me change it. Refactor, rename, overload. Okay, and from the polymorphism perspective, we spoke about how the methods were overloaded, and we spoke about method overloading even up here. So contacts, call, self. So these are getting overwritten for any child classes. Inheritance. So these are the methods that are getting overwritten. So here is the first method. Then the next perimeter method. This is overriding the parent method. And the same out here. This is also overriding the parent method. So both are coming from quad and both are overriding the parent method. So this I will also rename this so that's easy for you as inheritance over. Okay, what else was there? So static team, this is an important one that you need to look at, where I can mention in front of a method if that method is static. So what happens is, let's. Is the only one. So if I have a class, let us say anything team. About the day. Okay. And in this about the day, I'll say we have def at the weather. And here I'll say print weather is great. Now we say how about rain? No rain. And then about work null. So now what has happened? We've created a class. So I can always say d1 equals to about the day, and I can say d1 dot weather, and what is the weather for it, how is it doing, and so on. So this is okay, team, as long as I need to every time, let us say, use the method to create an object. So why should I say, why can't I just say about the day dot weather by itself and get the values out of it? So static method is a reference by which we want to say that this method called weather can be used without any object trying to instantiate it. So now let me rerun it and make sure it's running first. D1 dot weather. What happened for this about the day? There's nothing wrong. Which line? Line 15. Now it is static. I don't need to refer. What is missing? Ah, right. There should be no self for the static method. So your static method is common to the class, hence will not have the self attribute to it. You can call it from an object or without an object. So now the same thing to show from a perspective of what. So what did we do? Only one method I made static. So for the others, I can say d1 dot rain, and that's fine. So it will execute it. Only for this method, the self is removed. For static. Why is it removed for static? Self means that object, the object that is calling the method. When it's removed, that means it is calling for anything. So think of a logical thing that where we can use static methods. Easiest thing that can come to the mind is something like program. So let's say new by 29. So it's a class math. And if math is usually a word that is used somewhere, I'll say K-math, for example. Keep it new. And in this team, I'll have a method, and all these methods will be static methods. I'll say def add x, comma, y, and this will return x plus y. Let's just say minus product. So each time to be calling this method, I don't need to use all of this team. I'll just say kmath dot add and set 10 comma 20, or this is all printing only, right? Print. And it is giving me the flexibility to call that method. The only difference is no self anymore. Product 11 and 256. And let's run this one. So this is static method 2. In this again, The only main concept is I don't want a method to be linked to an object. It has to be common to the entire class. One second. So that's what it is about static method team. Now, from a coverage perspective, ability schools, you should look at a few more concepts. The only things that I've left aside are I was doing this here. One second. Okay, encapsulation also, I think we've covered to a certain extent. So the same get and set methods team is encapsulation in Java. So if I can quickly show you an example. This is Java. Encapsulation names. So a lot about array list hash map. I want to talk along with the API JSON Postman RESTful. I'm starting right after this thing. I was waiting for this thing to be over, be able to work on this. So we will talk about all these Java enums, array list, hash map. Enums are very simple team. In a class, you basically say that you can only select from a select list of words. We say enum level is low, medium, or high. Then you can say that level, you can set it to level is level dot will directly show you if it is medium or high. Sometimes we would just like copy and show this code. Let's see if this works. J32 is in. So this is the enum level thing. So when I say level, my where, whatever you're giving here, can only be to set to certain things. So when I say level dot, it will say low, medium, high. It can also be something that you're doing in like effects. Let's say effect. So when I say D1, so effect D1 equals to effect dot high. So here instead of low, medium, high, I'll say low, critical, showstop. And then I'm only in a position to select those variables out. This is what I want to set. So that's how enums work. Now, encapsulation in Java, did I specifically cover this Java classes? So the same get and set methods team. Once I say that my variables are private, then they have to be used in a get and a set method. So same thing here. I'm just going to quickly show you, please. Like J33 is called encapsulation. So the word like looks big, but primarily not so much. So this is my method class. Okay, so in this class, I basically have a person. Is a private, is a string name and all that. So what I will do is Control Z and new Java class person, right? That's the name. And class person. Okay, it was renamed person. Uppercase P. Get name, set name. So see, this variable is private, and that is the reason. So in my method, if I say person p1 equals to new person, that's fine. Okay. You can always say p1 dot get name, and that will get me my name. So if this is something that is returning only, then I will print it. Else this is my name. Let's go back to person.java once and see it is only returning and set name. So I would like to first set it. So I'll say p1 set name and say so set name get name, and that's good. But if I try to access that variable name by itself, I cannot. In fact, I cannot even see the name of the variable. I cannot see what is happening in it. So if this person.java class is not accessible for me, I cannot do anything about it. And that's encapsulating from a security. What you can see, what you cannot see, all that put in. Make sense, team? So the same concepts that are there, both from a Java and Python perspective. Just syntax here and there, don't get confused. But that's an important one for you to keep in loop. So we spoke about array list, hash map. These are ones to cover, and in Python, the same things that I need to cover are dictionaries, tuples, and sets. So we spoke about lists. We speak about tuples, sets, and dictionary systems. The only simple reason I'm delaying it, it'll make a lot of sense if API is coming up. So this is there. Then tuples, list, and we saw a lot of our class hoops concepts. Where would it be? I think it'll all be here in classes hoops. Creating a class all the way. But as a concept to understand, it'll take time. A little bit of rewatching this. If I get a chance to re-repeat the sessions, definitely will. So inheritance, how we're inheriting from one to the other. Yeah, and there are a lot of built-in things like math. So we need to get into JSON, like I was saying. We did, try except user input to a certain extent. We did, like taking input and how we are converting it and so on. So there's no end to what next, especially in terms of Python libraries that come. But core structure of programming is here. Any final questions, team? So this will be part of 2-week course training. I'm going to start actually with Microsoft Excel in depth, and then I'm going to go to these enums and encapsulations. Also, I kind of discussed briefly things. I'll put up here. Extract. So there's abstract and final also, team. Abstract is giving it primarily kind of a template. All implementation methods have to be done by child inherited objects classes. So it is like saying that I'm going to use this format, use this template, This will be the parameters, this will be the methods, but not putting anything into it. And there you go, extraction. So here there is extract class, right? Extract class animal, public extract class animal sound, public void sleep. So void sleep is okay, it can call, but this extract method can only be called if it is already been implemented by subclass, where it says what it has to exactly do. Otherwise, no method into it. You don't even see curl brackets open and close, just the end with a semicolon. That's the extract class. Let's take this and put it here first. Extract class. It's not doing anything. What else? Extract is there. To show this here. So good. You've got a good set of code and libraries to look at. And this 2 weeks training team, this will go in depth on these topics. It's going to start there, but I'm going to get into from there in GitHub. We'll do a lot of CI/CD with Jenkins, and optional maybe a little bit of Kubernetes, Docker if possible. So I will invite you all. It will be a little advanced training. At least the Microsoft Excel will be something easy for you all. The reason is you'll see how this data is getting stored in different formats, and so is for JSON API and so on. Any questions for me, team? That's about it that I have for this training, and you're welcome to continue on some of the other ones that we have. And I will be sending across the new GoToWebinar link for this training. Little date confirmations. The code, yeah, I think I'll try and have it around the same time, team. I was waiting for this same point so I can start that training. I'm going to confirm on the same. And team, I'm going to take this code and put it in for everyone, so that way you can get up and do it directly. Any other questions for me? Show in System Explorer. This whole folder should not be that big for us. Let's see how we see it. So all the code, source code are inside that team. Okay. So I click send to compress zip folder. And it's still compressing. Both have slowed down. Okay, trainings. Come on. Let me close PyCharm also. Should be all saved at least. All right, team, that's about it from my side. All I'm trying to do is get into this trainings folder and send across the zipped version. Just zipping it. I'm expecting no other questions right now. And yep, it's about 5 MB, not too long. I just wanted to quickly put it into the Google Drive. It's taken forever. No, exactly, please. Going to the home folder for this file. Okay, finally it went one folder in, second folder in. Okay, so that's the folder, and here's the file. Move it. Move it. Okay. So team, here's the folder. I'm putting that link in there. Please take the latest files from there. Thank you all once again for joining in. See you and look forward for attending some of the future events. Take care. Bye all.